What's good, y'all? Welcome to the Web4 Roundtable. I hope you guys are doing well. Joining us here for episode 243 here on this amazing Friday. Ashe, welcome, brother. All right, so I do have to turn off the banner so everyone can actually see your face. So I hope you're able to see the screen. I don't know if this is your first time on the live stream. In general, I hope you're doing well. Can you hear me? Does the audio sound good?
I can hear you just fine.
Amazing, amazing. All right, I just got the studio set up here on my desktop. I also have it on mobile. We also have a live space going on at the same time. So we're hitting everything. Also, we're on YouTube. So we're live streaming on YouTube, X, and Space at the same time. So we're doing our thing here. I hope you're doing well as well. I know we chatted a little bit in the DMs. It looks like H-Bar Bull had a video come out a little bit earlier. It sounds like you were on the show as well. I hope that went well as well, brother.
Yeah, man, it went great. He asked a lot of good questions and just glad to be on the show here, IPEX. I appreciate you inviting me on and just spread the word on what the barking game is and how people can utilize it.
Awesome, brother. Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time, and I always really appreciate every single founder that is willing to come up and really just share what's going on. So as you can see, I just shared my screen. I will be pulling up the Barking Game website. I'll also pull up your main account as well. So give me 1 second. I'm actually going to share a different tab so I can actually search it really quick. So if you guys are not familiar with the platform that Ashe has built, it is at the Barking Game. And if you've been tuning into any of our shows the last week or so since the official launch, it seems like a lot of people have been talking about it, barking at each other. So absolutely awesome. Again, it's great to have you on the show here today. So like I said, I will pull up the website as well. So I thought I had it up. So here it is. All right, let me pull it up as well. So again, if you guys have been on the show, you've been listening for the past week, you probably have already heard a little bit about it, but we did not have Ashe here to cover it with us. So we really want to just do our best to break down what is going on with HBark. I think a lot of people are figuring it out and asking questions. So if you guys have questions, feel free to hit the button on the bottom right to just share your questions. I'll be reading them. If you're in the live chat here, I see a bunch of you guys already joined. Feel free to comment them in the live chat. I'll pull some up so we can kind of unpack some of them with Ashe. So Ashe, just checking on time. Are you good for about an hour or so? You're more than welcome to drop
Yeah,
out whenever you need to, brother.
yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll hang in as long as I can.
Awesome, awesome. So again, friendly reminder, y'all. This is, if you're just tuning in today, this is the Web4 Roundtable interviewing the Barking Game here today. If you want to come up as a speaker to ask questions, right, we want to really do this for the community, make sure the community has a strong voice and can engage, right? This is a community focused, community driven platform at the end of the day, right? We want to make sure that as many members are getting involved, getting hooked up on what is going on here with HBark. All right. Jack, Captain Jack, Ashe, what should I call you for the rest of the interview here, brother?
You can just call me either Ash or Captain Jack. Either one's fine.
Awesome. I was saying Ashe, so I'll say Ash. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong then, but I hope you're doing well. It's been a while since we chatted. But I didn't know it was you behind it too, so that's really awesome and funny enough, do you remember? I'm trying to remember when it was. I don't even remember who did it. So shout out to whoever was doing it, but it was like maybe in May. It was a while ago, maybe like 3 or 4 months ago. There was like a community competition where like different projects were going head to head and people were voting on them. Do you remember
Yeah,
that by any
yeah,
chance?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't remember if it was like the first round or second. It was one of the early rounds, but I remember this Barking Game was pitted up against. I think it was Tate. Shout out to Tate. He had put IPEX with I think Cosmonodes or something, and he had put it up there with with the Barking Game, and I was like, "What is this token?" I was so confused, and then you guys beat me. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what this token is. And I'll never forget it. So I was just like, I don't even know what it is, to be honest. And I think that was around the time you were doing the giveaways and, of course, the free mint on Centex as well. So I kind of didn't really look at it too much. But around that time, I was like, oh, okay, well, clearly the community is excited about it. So I got to do some research and see what's
Yeah,
going on over there.
that was really early on. That was we had just started building the barking game. This was back in May.
Yeah.
Um, One thing that I wanted to do early as a guiding light for this project was incorporate the community as quickly as possible. And I
Yeah.
wanted to do that by making free to mint NFTs, as well as dropping or making claims of HBARC token available to people who held various NFTs in our ecosystem, Ghost Pixels and HCraft Punks and the Kabila NFTs and Syntax NFTs and your Lithos NFTs, because that shows goodwill early on, and it's a great way to bootstrap a community. Like, these people who are holding these NFTs are already in the Hedera community, right?
Yeah.
And so why not try to bring them on board and reward them with some free NFTs and with some free HPark tokens to get everybody started. So yeah, that went on for about, man, I think 4 weeks or maybe even 6 weeks. We identified all sorts of different NFT collections, and it's all in our it's all in our white paper. We
Yeah.
logged, if you're curious which NFTs qualified for the initial HBark airdrop, I guess it was an air grab or a claim, because you did have to come to our website, because we really wanted to make sure that the HBark was getting in the hands of the right people, right?
Right.
And not just in the hands of people who are going to turn around and dump it, which is often what we see with airdrops.
Yeah.
And so we restricted it to a grab or a claim on the website. And yeah, that was back in May. It seems like so long ago, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's kind of where everything started for me, at least, just kind of researching it. I didn't participate. I don't know. I don't even remember what was going on. I think the market was just dropping, and everyone was just trying to figure out what are we doing next, what's going to happen. So there was just a lot that's changed. But maybe I could ask a little bit about what was the decision, or maybe you were just building this whole time. But did you choose to wait? Did you just launch it recently? I thought around that time it had come out. I just maybe hadn't heard anything much since. So I'm just curious if it was a decision to make to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah. So the idea came to me and I think it was March,
Okay.
and I started executing on the branding on April the 1st. And so, I mean, you can see we have all unique art and characters and
Yeah.
different poses here. I was just working with some people around the globe, some artists and stuff. I think I ended up working with like 5 different artists to finally come up with the Jack H. Bark, character.
Yeah.
Uh, and then multiple more to extend it to these different poses. But we, since my co-founders are developers, we were basically just working on this. We all have day jobs, so we were all working on this just in our free time. And no, we didn't try to time it until the market turned around. We just
Yeah.
happened to launch it next week, and then look at what's happening in the crypto
Yeah.
markets since
Oh,
then.
for sure.
Really
Yeah.
fortunate for us.
Yeah, no, that's super fortunate for sure. And yeah, if anyone that has been really tracking on our show here, we've just kind of been calling for the end of the year, maybe to have a reversal, maybe in the beginning of next year, and we'll just kind of wait and see what happens. But timing wise, I think just kind of waiting out. I know some people say it's the best time to launch something in the bear market or coming out of the bear market. I don't fully agree with that. I know some people say for some ways or another, I think it's a good thing, but I don't know, going into a bull run, I think there's a lot of value that people can just run with and exposure. And it's so tough to capture that in a bear market. That's why most platforms aren't launching or marketing what they're doing, really, which ideally they are, but I get it. And liquidity is even tighter during those times as well. But I do want to touch a little bit on tokenomics. I know that since we are launching now, we could talk a little bit about the leaderboard, the website. You mentioned the white paper. I haven't actually gone through it, so we could definitely cover some of that as well. But really, I want you to be super comfortable, whatever you want to be sharing as well. You're totally fine to do that. I want to make sure that the community, if they have questions, again, feel free to comment them on the bottom right in the space or in the live stream. Just hit the little bar on the bottom, comment your questions. If the community, really, this is for the community to really just learn as much as possible. And then, of course, at the end of the show, make sure that they're fully up to date on how to get involved. I've been getting a bunch of DMs. Hey, I see you HBarking. How do I get involved? Right. So I've been answering as many people's DMs and pointing them to the website. So that's definitely something we want to accomplish by the end of this stream for sure.
Yeah, so I'll be glad just to walk through a bit of iteration. But if there's any comments, I'll pause and take comments in real time here, everyone. The purpose of the barking game, it's funny, and nobody knows this yet. So I'm giving you guys some background that's going to end up in a blog post that I write, but I haven't really told anybody. The original idea of the barking game was more of an aggressive guard dog, and it was to give the Hedera community the ability to almost like defend or protect themselves against FUD and stuff like that coming from other ecosystems. So it was like barking at somebody aggressively, right? But as any good founder or builder entrepreneur does, I go out and get feedback from people who I think will be good users, ideal users of the game. And a couple people who I really respect gave me feedback that while they appreciate the idea of like a guard dog, why don't we make it something a little bit more welcoming? And instead of barking at people, why don't we bark for people? And so, in like April, the whole perspective of the game shifted from like, a Rottweiler or something to a Jack Russell Terrier, who's, I don't know if you've ever seen a Jack Russell Terrier, but they're small, but they're like thick, right? And they're strong and they're alpha. And so I didn't see any other Jack Russell Terriers being used in any meme coins or anything.
Right.
Everybody is doing Shiba Inus and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought it would help us set apart a bit. But yeah, that's like the origin story of it. It turned into, the goal of it was to, like our website says, we want to surface and reward active community members and draw attention to the awesomeness that we all are. And so far, I think that we're doing that. I just ran some stats. So we've been live for only 1 week, if you can believe it. 1 week, all these parts, 1 week. And after 1 week, we've had about a little over 100 people verify or link their Twitter on our website, which makes them active and available to bark. And we've had over 2,000 barks in our first week. So,
whoa, wow, okay.
It's doing pretty good.
That's
and
incredible.
We use the Twitter API, so we're just scraping that, and that's how we process it. And everything so far has just been a Web2 token, but of course there's a Web3 utility token, HBark, in the background that decides how much bark power you get. You use that bark power on Twitter to bark for whoever you want. It's not up to us, right? You bark for whoever you'd like. That's the whole point of it. And we're already seeing creative uses of the barking game. I saw that Dystopic Hippie jumped on Twitter and gave 500 bark, right, for while we're live streaming. So I just can't wait to see how various content creators and influencers or people who just want to celebrate, other people, how they leverage this thing.
Right. And speaking of leverage, right? So I just highlighted it up here. I believe you could see it. Everyone looking at the live stream, you could see it pop up. So you mentioned scraping the Twitter API. So when they comment on the live stream, it doesn't work. But if they comment on the actual post, it works, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was just looking at your post. Dystopic Hippie left a 500 HBark, 500 on the post.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it definitely has to be in the comments. So for future reference, if you guys hear on the live stream, you got to actually click on the post and then do it. But this is an example. This is also a really good example of what it will look like, though, for those of you guys that haven't done it. But I do want to give a little bit of a breakthrough. That would be one of the next things as well, to give a little breakthrough, how to get involved, how to get started. That's been the main DMs up in gang. And obviously, it's really new. Also, that's why a lot of people are confused and trying to figure out. There's a bunch of people that are super on top of things, and you guys figured it out yourself. And like, more power to everyone that's done that so far. But yeah, I had some problems with it myself. I was trying to figure out, I don't know what the error I was getting, and then literally like an hour later it worked. So maybe it was just something on my wall. You know what? I think it was when the mainnet, something with the mainnet, there was something going on. I don't remember, but I got it to work. It's super fast, super simple. So we'll definitely jump over to the website. But Ash, if you want to jump back in, brother.
Yeah. So firstly, we had, as all new projects that launch do, we had a couple bugs and issues that came up and that we had to fix. But if you've been keeping up with our Twitter, we've been really active and on top of things.
Yeah.
Every bug report, every issue that we've had has been resolved now. So yeah, if you want to just scroll up to the top. So here, the only wallet we currently support is Hashpack, with plans to support more wallets in the future. but you would log in with your Hashpack or your Hedera wallet. And once you log in with your Hedera wallet, then you would scroll down, right? You'll scroll down, and then where it says please connect wallet, there's going to be a button right there that just says
Yeah.
verify Twitter, right? You click that button, and since we don't know who you are, right?
Yeah.
You sign an off-chain message that we can use to identify what your account ID is. And once we have that little message, right? This isn't a transaction on Hedera mainnet. This is just right, exactly. And it'll give you something that looks like that you go post with whatever Twitter account you want to link to your wallet, right? We don't care which one it is, but once you have your account logged into our website, your Twitter account linked, if you have HBARC in your wallet, in your account, then it'll show what your BARC power is right there. And once you have that, that's it. You only have to do it one time. You don't even have to log into our website again if you really don't want to. You can just play the game on Twitter for as much HBARC as you have. You'll want to log in once a day to see how much BARC power you have. And it updates every 5 minutes, right? So we go and we scrape Twitter every 5 minutes, and you can just tell how much BARC power you have. And there's no reason to bark for more than the BARC power you have, because once we scrape that BARC that you did, we'll just ignore it. You can't game the system. You can only bark for as much BARC power that you have on the web page.
Awesome. Yeah. So if you guys are signed in, unfortunately, I'm not signed in currently. But if you were signed in, it'll give you a number based on how many tokens you have. So luckily you did write a thread. So I'm actually going to pull up that thread. Maybe that'll make things a little bit simpler to unpack. I did see it as well earlier. I did read through all of it. So we could definitely touch on it, because I know some people were also asking me, how do we just kind of work through what this BARC power is? What does it look like? And I thought this was a really great post for what it's worth as well. So Barking Game, if you guys are just joining in, we are interviewing at the Barking Game here with Ash, the founder. The Barking Game is the perfect tool for content creators to align incentives, drive attention, and reward community. Why just give likes when you can also give bark? So something I've been doing personally moving forward now that I'm actually using, getting into it, and I understand it more. So now that whenever I say GMs, whenever I'm replying to posts, that kind of stuff, I'll add just a HBARC in there as well. And I think that's a massive first step for people to start understanding just how this is working, how to adopt this as well. And I think it's just a massive win for our ecosystem as well, for people to just reward one another, because at the end of the season, we're going to unpack a little bit as well what happens once the season is over. I think that's a great way to just kind of jump. I'm looking for the thread here. You've been super busy, clearly, and there's a scavenger hunt. I'm not going to talk about too much unless you want to, because I'm trying to get that wallet.
Let me just talk about that scavenger hunt. This is just something I've wanted to do for a very long time. Basically, I created a Hedera wallet that has a 12-word mnemonic phrase. So, just like giving somebody your private key, if somebody knows those 12 words, then they can access your wallet, right? And I just loaded it full of 100,000 HBARC, and I'm giving clues about each word. Remember, the word matters and its position matters. So you should expect 12 different clues from me on that Twitter account, representing each of the words, and I'll tell you what position each of the words are. And after all 12 clues, it's a race to see who can add that account to Hashpack using that mnemonic and transfer those 100,000 HBARC out of them. I've already dropped like 1 HBAR in there to cover gas. So you can just, as soon as you think you have those 12 words, try to unlock that wallet, jump in there, and send them to yourself.
Man, yeah, you're giving too much alpha on that. I'm really trying to get that one. I think here, I'll say this on the interview now. If I'm able to figure it out first, and I'm able to transfer it to myself, I think I'll give away a good chunk of it back to the community. I'll figure out how we can do that, but that's if I win. So you guys can, you can't help me technically unless you guys have all the words. Then you might as well take it for yourself. But yeah, that's a cool initiative. I always enjoy the scavenger hunts. So I think you're doing something really cool on top of what you're already doing here. And as you mentioned, there were some bugs and some stuff to fix. So I can imagine how busy you've been in the last week as well.
Yeah, we've been really busy. I mean, we've had little issues come up, everything from our back end and front end not talking well to each other because they're on different places. Um, we've had to move and upgrade our back end servers and deploy new servers in the U.S. as well as Europe because we just had so much traction and so much web traffic coming to the website that it was breaking things. So yeah, it's been fun. I mean, for the most part, I'm really pleased with the launch. We haven't encountered any critical bugs yet, and we've been able to fix everything. But of course, I mean, if you see an issue, if you're unable to bark, if you're unable to get verified, you're unable to claim your LP rewards, then just tweet at us and we'll see it.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been using it for I think 3 days, 4 days now. I got it set up a few days in, and like I said, there was like a little bit, maybe it was a bug or something. It was the Twitter side. I was able to log in fine. All that was good. So again, you guys are not familiar. You know what? If you can see the bottom where it says support the Web4 Roundtable, the little rotating thing, there's different things. It says like the show's at 5 p.m. or EST or like and repost a stream. I'm actually going to update it here shortly as well. I'm going to update it with the website, and then I'm going to add the token ID to it as well. So everyone kind of just associate it. If you haven't associated, go check it out. And of course, if you want to pick up the token, no financial advice. Maybe we'll go a little bit through the FAQs as well. I see Siki just made a comment here on the live stream, just signed up. Looks cool. Yeah, we want to see more and more people signing up. Oh, you know what? Before I forget, this isn't supposed to be a shill about me or what I'm doing, but there is something I did want to share that is just going to be for fun. I just thought of this last night. Give me 1 second to find it. It is directly about HBark. Let me find it really quick. So it's basically, you know how people make posts about day one and they're doing something for an initiative or something that they're trying to work on or promote. Let me see if I can find it really quick. If not, we'll just keep going. I have so many posts here. But yeah, basically, just day one, barking at all of Hedera. I think that we can see a lot more people just kind of getting in on what's going on, and hopefully this interview just gets more and more people signed up, more people benefiting one another as well, because we're going to talk a bit about the tokenomics and how people, when they do bark at one another, you're essentially rewarding other people to participate as well. Here you go. I just found it. All right, so let me see here. Oh, okay, you know what? I need to change my screen here. So I said day one, barking at all HBark, comment one or more HBark below, and I'll bark back. So basically just getting, and I'm going to do this for some time. I don't know how many days, but we got quite a few community members actually to click on the post. But basically, I'll just comment back some HBark, whatever I have, basically in my treasury here with the HBark power. And maybe I'll do something special for the community. Like I said, if I'm able to win that mnemonic phrase, get a lot of HBarks back to the community. So we want to make sure that a lot of the community is getting involved with what's going on. And just for people to understand as well, this is not an initiative that is only for Hedera. I think a lot of people are going to miss what this can actually be. Like if we really wanted to take this cross chain and just start barking at random people, maybe people would just be super confused and whatever, but to be able to get people to ask questions, and if enough people actually jumped on it. So let me actually share my tab once again, actually just show you guys an example, because still, even if we've had like 2,000 something, which is incredible in the first week, but the moment that we start hitting let's just say some terminal velocity. So here's an example of what it would look like, right? Rebel without a horse, HBarked, right? I'm just gonna do like little amounts, because if we do start getting like 100 comments on a post, right? I don't have like a crazy amount of HBark to bark back, so I'm gonna keep it like a little bit. So you're welcome to HBark if you want. But you can see all these people, right? These are just all examples, and I wanted this to be an example for the interview of what it would look like for the community to be able to come together. Safe Investor, shout out to you, brother. He hasn't joined yet, right? He was asking about it, and I said, hey, DM me. Let's get you started. But you don't actually have to sign up yet, right? To actually start having bark attributed to your account as well. but that also means, hey, you should sign up and get involved, because the community is starting to rally, and 2,000 is quite a bit. I think you should be very proud of yourself, Ash, for the first week, for sure, brother.
Yeah, thank you. And you know, the one of the coolest parts of this project is that you're right. You don't have to just bark for Hedera people. Heck, you don't even have to bark just for Web3 people, because the way that the barking game is created and how we architected it, you can bark for any single person on Twitter, period. And those barks are going to sit in their account, right, on our website. These are just Web2 tokens, remember. Those barks are going to be allocated to them, their Twitter account, and available at any time for them to link a Hedera wallet with their Twitter, right? And so, like the other day, just as a test, I barked like 100 bark for SpaceX, right?
Yeah.
Now, that means they would be able to claim 100 actual HBARC tokens,
Yeah.
Web3 Hedera tokens, during the claim window. Of course, they're not going to, right? But it makes a good example. If they create a Hashpack wallet, they logged in and they linked the SpaceX Twitter account, then when the claim window opens at the end of season 1, they could claim those 100 HBARC. So this is not only is it a great tool for Hedera content creators, influencers. Heck, I could even see like the foundation or the governing council. I could see all of them eventually using this as a tool. But it's also great to grow the community, not just reward our current community. Because once you bark for somebody, there's a chance they're going to click on that hashtag, or maybe you add like learn more at the barking game, tag us. They can come and check us out, and you never know who's going to join our community, our ecosystem, because of it.
Yeah, it's super fascinating. And I was kind of, the first day that it came out, and I was like really trying to understand what was even happening. My mind was just kind of like spinning. I was just like, okay, wait a second. So at the end, I think we could start unpacking a little bit about like why people should even get involved, right? It looks like people are just adding or replying to each other. They're adding this token ID. Like, why should I care about this token ID? What are these numbers? I haven't signed up yet, right? Like, so many people still have a lot of questions. Like, hey, I don't know what's going on, and I'm just super confused, right? So people obviously care about, hey, like, what is the liquidity pool? Is there a liquidity pool attached to this kind of stuff, right? Where do I get the token? What does that look like? So obviously, it's on Saucer Swap. You can find it. I don't know if it's on other dexes, so you're more than welcome, Ash, to kind of just unpack that a little bit as well. But how can people buy the token? Why should people look into picking up some tokens, right? What would that look like for people? And then, of course, we could jump to wrap that portion up as well. At the end of the season, what people are looking for. If you're on the leaderboard, what happens if you're not on the leaderboard, that kind of stuff. So I'll kick it back to you, brother.
Yeah. So let's just cover the leaderboard first. We just chose, for the sake of just keeping it short on the website, just to show 20 people on the leaderboard. But anytime you log in with your Hashpack wallet, and assuming you've linked, your Twitter, you're going to show up on the leaderboard in row 1, and it's going to show what your actual rank is and how many points or barks you've received. Like, for instance, me, the barking game, I'm not on the top 20, but when I log in, it says I'm actually ranked 24th with 9,498 points, right?
Wow.
So users are going to be able to see their position as well as the top 20. All right. So as far as the HBARC token goes, I actually put, I think it was about 50,000 HBAR and 10% of the HBARC supply. So there's 420 million HBARC. So 42 million HBARC matched with my own personal 50,000 HBAR to create the first market, right? And that set the first price. Over on Saucer Swap, I should call everybody's attention to on the FAQ on our website. Will HBARC make me rich? Should I buy it? I just want to read this. It will probably go to zero. It's not a store of value or reasonable investment of any kind. Only risk what you're willing to lose. This is a community engagement experiment, not an investment. Okay. All right. I have to get that out there. It is a true utility token, though, right? HBARC is an actual and real utility token because holding it does earn you BARC power. All right. But Saucer Swap is definitely the place to go swap it. At the very top of our site, we link to that Saucer Swap LP that I created. I've locked this LP tokens up to try to try to let people know that this is a serious project and it's not a rug. I've posted tweets about this, but I've locked those LP tokens up, and they're locked up even into 2025 at this point. I can't remember. I think it's like February, March. They're locked up for.
Yeah.
They've been locked since May, right? And if the project's successful, I'll just keep locking those. But I think we should. So let's assume that you have HBARC tokens now. Now, I tried to post about this earlier today because people are a little bit confused about the relationship between HBARC, the Hedera token, and Bark Power, the Web2 token.
Yeah.
And so to try to TLDR this, there is not a one-to-one relationship between the number of HBARC tokens that you own and the amount of Bark Power that you get, right? Remember, Bark Power is the Web2 token that you use on Twitter. There's an equation that goes on in the background. We call it qualified HBARC, right? And some accounts, like our founders' accounts, our LP account, the LP rewards account, the treasury, if HBARC the token are in any of those accounts, they do not qualify for Bark Power. And what that does is that puts the Bark Power back in the hands of the community, right? So that's one thing. Two is there's an equation that we use to measure how much HBARC you hold just in your wallet, just liquid, and how much HBARC you have LP'd in the Saucer Swap pool. That earns 3 times. Yeah, exactly. It gets a 3x multiplier. And then we calculate that math for every single user that is either holding or LPing HBARC. And we're able to tell what percentage of the overall HBARC you own. And that's how much of the percentage of the Bark Power you get every day. And I say every day because Bark Power is unique in the sense that it expires every single day at midnight UTC or 8 o'clock Eastern. And yes, if you don't use it, you lose it. So that incentivizes people barking, right?
Right.
But then we run that calculation again at midnight UTC every day, and we refill everyone's Bark Power, and the game starts afresh, the next day. If you were around in May and you held really any of the NFTs that we established, that we identified, including, I remember I made the Barkaneers NFT collection. Dystopic Hippie made the Scallywag Squawkers. Those gave you a lot of HBARC back in the day. But so there was a chance that a lot of our community members, assuming they didn't sell, of course, right, that they would be able to play the barking game for free. And we really want to do that. We wanted to lower the entry friction for people. But if you don't have any Bark Power, then that means you're not. I mean, if you don't have any HBARC, you're not going to have any Bark Power. You're going to need to go to the Saucer Swap liquidity pool and purchase some. But when you purchase it, when the clock strikes midnight UTC, you'll then be included in that equation that allocates Bark Power every day to everyone.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate the explanation. We're definitely going to unpack a little bit more of why people should get involved for the end of the season. We'll talk a little about the seasons as well. I did just update the banner rotating at the bottom. So again, if you guys are just tuning in, we are interviewing at the Barking Game. And then, of course, we have Ash. Oh my gosh, I'm so used to say Ash, the founder here. So again, shoot them a follow at the Barking Game. Go check out the website that we've been showing here on the live stream, hbark.club. The token name is hashtag hbark, and the token ID is 0.05022567. Go check out their token as well. And we just shared as well that you can pick up some tokens. I need to reshare my screen here. Pick up some tokens on Saucer Swap. I'm doing my best to switch the screen when you're talking to you, and then when we're showing something, switch it back. So I gotta manually do that each time. But yeah, go check it out on Saucer Swap. It looks like it's up 267% over the past week, over the past month, essentially, right? You guys can see when the token came out. A lot of people are getting involved. A lot of people are jumping in. Unfortunately, I don't see like the market cap or any of that kind of stuff here on. Uh, Usually, it's on like Dex Screener, but I believe the market cap's like around 200,000. So a very, very early entry potentially. Again, not financial advice. I'm not telling anyone sitting here, hey, this token is going to do a certain whatever, right? Ash literally just talked about here in the FAQ, should you buy the token? And he just explained it's not store of value, right? Reasonable investment of any kind. This is a community engagement experiment, not an investment. You guys can make a financial decision yourself if that's what you want to do with the tokens. But I'm very much excited for what this token is doing. And again, go check out what they're doing. It looks like it's currently sitting at 0.00581. It looks like about, just as we're covering it live, 1,000 H bar is worth about 101,539 tokens. And also, just the reason we're covering that as well, because I do want to talk a little bit about the tokenomics, how many tokens there are. I believe it's like 420 million. So we'll unpack a little bit of that as well. So I do want to jump to now the leaderboard. So you mentioned it's scraping data, right? So the more people are being barked at, we have a bunch of people up here, absolutely amazing people in the Hedera ecosystem. I believe it's covering the top 20 last I checked. Yeah, so 20. I don't know if you have any plans to shorten it, expand it, any of that kind of stuff, but I think 20 is a pretty solid group of people to be barked at, and you can see all the points accumulated over the last week. So some people have quite a few points for sure. So again, shout out to everyone here up on the leaderboard. Now, something I do want to talk about is you mentioned even if you're not on the top 20 currently, you should be able to see where you fit if you care about the leaderboard at all. But something that's important is these are not just random numbers, because you go look at your wallet and maybe you haven't really picked up tokens, right? Maybe you haven't bought 40,000 tokens yourself, but you have your wallet set up, you link your account, but people are barking at you, right? And so at the end of the season, I would love to unpack a little bit about what's going to happen, what's going on with the leaderboard here, brother.
Yeah, so at the end of the season, all Bark points are converted to HBark, the token. And so assuming that, the season ended now, the season's currently looking to end at around September 25th. So we have about another month of season one. 15 million HBark have been allocated to season one. And so that helps us, divide into how many days, 15 million HBark, that's how much bark power a day, right? But if the season ended right now, then Dark HBar would be able to claim 40,900 HBar, right? And then Lorelei Draws would be able to claim 40,006, and then
Nice.
down. But we're only 1 week in. We have 4 or maybe 5 weeks left, so we should expect these point totals just to continue to increase and gain momentum over time. Once everybody has claimed, once the claim window of season one opens, then the leaderboard resets all back to zero, and we start a new season. We'll take feedback from the community on what worked well, what didn't work well. Do we need to increase the amount of HBark in the season 2? Do we need to decrease it?
Right.
Should there be changes to the algorithm that manages and calculates bark power? We'll probably take a week or two to get feedback and make some changes, and then season 2 starts and we're back off to the races again.
Wow. Okay. So you mentioned September 26th. Is that right, for the end of season one?
Right around there. Yeah.
Around there. So about a month from now. So are you planning on seasons being on average about a month, 5 weeks, something around there as well moving forward?
Yeah. The first season was about 6 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks. I just kind of pulled that out of thin air. I wanted it long enough for people to get familiar with the game, but short enough that we didn't have to wait till December or something for people to claim HBark, because I want people to convert their bark points to HBark, because now that continues to grow who can bark and how much they can bark for, because there's as those HBark tokens stay in our treasury where they are right now, they don't qualify for bark power. So once
Gotcha.
season one ends, then those tokens will get claimed and move from our treasury into your wallets as you claim them. And now they qualify for Bark Power. So yeah, season one was just a test to see if people like this, and they obviously do. Maybe the next season's 4 weeks, maybe the next season's 8 weeks. The one thing to remember is since HBARC is a limited supply token, it is capped at 420 million, and there's no inflation. We can't continue to mint this token. And you don't have to take my word for it. Go to HashScan and type in, our token address, and you can see there's no permissions on our token. No supply key to mint, no freeze or pause or any of that stuff, right? It's a truly permissionless token once it's in
Right.
in your wallet. There will be a day where the barking game will have to end because our treasury account will run out of tokens to use, all right, to facilitate the barking game. If I could do this over, I would probably have I would have probably like written and deployed a smart contract that had limits on it of how much HBARC could be minted each month or something, so that we had a steady trickle of HBARC available, so the barking game could literally go on forever. But I felt that at this point, since the concept is so new, that it might turn people off if it was an infinitely mintable, fungible token, because they would see it as, oh, I don't want to mess with that because they can mint it at any time. And then I got to explain to them, well, you see, it's got this smart contract that has all these permissions that don't allow me to do that. But it just got too complicated. So version 1, the barking game, limit the supply token. We're going to keep running it back season until our treasury runs out of HBARC tokens.
Awesome, brother. Yeah, no, I was thinking about that as well, and just trying to wrap my mind around, like, this is something, especially if it's like every 4, 5, 6 weeks a season. You mentioned 15 million tokens, correct, for season 1?
For season 1, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. We do have a speaker here. We have George, and yeah, we do want to make sure the community is able to ask questions as well. George, you're welcome to come up and speak. Ash, let me know if you can hear him, brother. Go ahead, George.
Since from the beginning, it's extremely interesting. As your outfit is fitting everything so good. I like everything what I was hearing. So I wanted to suggest a very interesting point. Maybe it's late because token is already launched without keys. But if you apply some tax, I don't know, maybe 1%, 2%. I mean, some tax. I mean, it could make a game kind of infinite because everything that could return on main account in a form of tax, it could be reinvested for game to continue. Game is so good. I like it so much. I mean, it's one of the projects that I observe non-stop and follow literally everything. I like it very much. So, like these feelings that it will end one day. I understand everything is nothing is infinite. Everything, especially everything good, one day finished. But this idea that, especially if you will distribute everything evenly, like Bitcoin, and it will be long term, project can accumulate so much inertia and loyal followers. It will spread among Twitter. So with so much power. So just the idea. Maybe we'll think about it. Maybe you will figure out some way. But especially more time will come. More we love this project. Harder it will be to say goodbye at the end. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, George. If my calculations are correct, we should be able to play the barking game for at least 12 months. It really depends on how much we allocate for each of the seasons. You can look at how much HBARC is in our treasury, plus how much HBARC for the most part is in our marketing account, right? There is a chance that I'm going to need to spend some of the marketing account to do some actual marketing, right? But for now, we're not touching either. We're not touching that at all. We're just barking for people using our marketing account, and all of these account IDs are in our white paper. I'm trying to really build something that is transparent and permissionless. George made a good point. We could put a tax on the token where the tax, when people transfer it, for example, comes back into the treasury and it creates this circular loop to continue on the barking game. But we didn't put a fee schedule key on the token. So we couldn't even add a royalty on the token at this point, even if we wanted to. So, we just need to, it makes me sad that the barking game will be gone one day too, but we have more than 12 months for that. I think if it's successful, then we'll launch another one or something afterwards. But I think now that we've proven the model on Twitter, that there's going to be a lot more. I think we might even see copycats. I mean, there will be nothing like being first with the barking game, right? Thankfully, we have that forever. But I expect if this thing does pop off the way I think it could, we're going to see copycats. But look, we've got a year. We've got a year, maybe a little bit more. Let's see what we can do with it.
Yeah, that's super exciting, and we have an interview with Only LARPing, the founder of Karate Combat. Postmaster, I see you down the speaker. You're welcome to come up if you want to jump in on this part. But Karate Combat, and I don't know what keys you have, so maybe what I'm about to say is kind of irrelevant. But Karate Combat has their cap, right? I'm trying to remember. I think it's 100 million. 100 million, 100 billion, somewhere it's 100 something, probably 100 million tokens total. But basically there is going to come to a point where similarly, right after a year, it'll be years down the road for Karate Combat, but essentially more tokens could be minted essentially, and community members, Only LARPing was very clear essentially that if the community decides that that's what they want to do, more and more people kind of just use, right? There hasn't really been something done, and as you said, right, it is experimental. There are ways to go about this that haven't really been done before. The community being able to bark at one another, and at the end of the season essentially be gifted to be able to claim, right, tokens from one another. Like, that is very valuable. And I'm looking just again, not financial advice, anything like that. The reason also why I pulled up Saucer Swap, so you guys can see. Oh, I always forget. I need to manually click it here. So you guys can see over here on Saucer Swap, right? So the people, let me jump to the leaderboard. There's a lot of tab switching here on my end. But you can see, right, some of the people at the top, let's just look at Dark H Bar, for example. About 41,000 tokens, just as an example, right? It just started a weekend, right? So HBAR wise, it's about 400 HBAR worth if a token were to be sold at this point right here in relation to the leaderboard. This is a weekend. There's about 4 or 5 more weeks left till we hit the end of the first season, right? So most people haven't really arguably jumped on it. I'd say maybe 100 people, a couple hundred people at this point, over 2,000 barks. Like, it's so incredibly early for our ecosystem alone, not to mention maybe onboarding people from other chains. Like, that would be awesome to get enough people together to raid someone in another chain. Like, that'd be incredible to onboard them. Like, I think SocialFi, which we haven't really had that much in Hedera, SocialFi would be another next step for us to really catch up culture wise, DApp wise, and so on to other chains. And that's so exciting to me. So Ash, if you want to jump in, respond to that, and then I'm going to kick it to Postmaster if he wants to jump in as well.
Yeah, no, let's go ahead and take a question.
Awesome. Postmaster, how you doing, brother? Welcome to the stage.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I love all the games coming to Hedera. Very interactive. I see that a lot of people are playing this barking game, and yeah, it's awesome. It's gonna fuel the ecosystem while we're in a little bit of a bearish, downtrend in Hedera. So hopefully we will have like Mind Bend and the barking game and a lot of these things featured, and it'll be a way to bring over people from other ecosystems and using the Hashpack wallet. And so yeah, I love it, man. Everything's looking great. The UI looks great. Love the little Barkaneer, the pirate themed dog, and it's dog season right now. People are going crazy about dogs on every chain. So your dog will have its day, and I'm sure this token and this game will definitely be popular for the next year. And yeah, to answer your question, there is 110,000 tokens, 77 over on Ethereum, 33 million over here on Hedera. and you can, yeah, there's keys for that. The admin keys are around for the team to make a decision based on the token holder's choice if we want to continue the game after 3 years, find a different way to continue the game. And I think that's what they're exploring now with trying to get other leagues like the Craig Jones Invitational. It seems to me like they've allowed them to use the pit, and are doing some spin-offs of the pit submission series under the tutelage of Craig Jones. So we might see the CGI be the first league that incepts up only gaming outside of Karate Combat. And I think that I honest to God, I think that's the play. I think that's what they're after, is to try to get as many sports leagues or even poker tournaments, golf leagues, Web3 gaming tournaments, things like that, to kind of adopt up only gaming, as it's very easy to onboard new people and get them interested in the players and kind of fast track them to super fans and kind of get to know who they're betting against. They'll go back, they'll look at the tail of the tape kind of thing, if they're serious about winning some more tokens, especially if you want to bet on an underdog, if you're trying to find the underdog on the list. Everything's looking good for the H-Park, man. You guys are doing a great job. Love the Captain Jack. Everything's A+, 2 thumbs up for me, brother.
Thanks, dude. Hey, I even dressed the part today. I got my goblet full of beer here. I've got my pirate hat on and my little I'm here.
I love it.
I'm here at the pirate bar.
Yeah, all I got is my astronaut suit and my coffee here. I'm definitely underdressed for the occasion.
Yeah.
Let's hear your best pirate, Ipex.
No, I'm embarrassed myself here, but no, I love the Captain Jack, Jack Sparrow. I mean, he's probably the best pirate, so great. And then Jack Terrier, I see the correlation there as well. So yeah, there's a lot of as Postmaster said, every dog has his day, and yeah, it's super exciting. I mean, I've been waiting for SocialFi on Hedera. I've been making more posts about just different platforms that we need to see, and if people disagree, that's fine. I mean, I'm not really here to really debate too much. I'm giving my honest opinion, and we need to see just more. And guess what? We don't know what's going to stick until we actually try and do it and experiment. And until we see that, like, we just don't know for sure. And so we got to continue to push, promote, support the builders and the experimentors right here on the network. So Ash, I really appreciate all that you're doing here on the network. So where would you like to just kind of jump to next? We've unpacked quite a bit here. And again, if you guys are just joining us here today, make sure to don't forget to like and retweet if you are finding value out of our show here today. It is the best way to show the show support. This is episode 243. Also on the spaces, for some reason the space crashed, so I did have to restart it. But the live stream is going strong, going wide. I think a lot of people jumped over to the live stream once the space crashed. The spaces, I did re-up it though. But again, don't forget to like and retweet. It really does mean a lot to me and to the people that are being promoted here on this show. I'm really trying to get the community together and make sure people are up to date with what is going on in the ecosystem. But Ash, I'll kick it back to you, brother.
Yeah, no, I really appreciate the opportunity to join the show. Congrats on having so many shows. I mean, over 200 is absolute ridiculous number. You know, in a previous life, I ran the Liberty Entrepreneurs podcast where I did about 88 shows, and I did EOS Radio back years ago. And I think we only did like 50 shows of that or so. Creating content and regular content is very difficult. So, you know, my pirate hat's off to you here for creating so much content. If you want to keep up with us, just check out the website and, follow us on Twitter. That's easily the best way. And if you want to play the game, just like an arcade, you got to have the token to play the game. So, head on over to Saucer Swap and get the token. And you don't have to do anything with it. Just leave it in your wallet, and you'll qualify for Bark Power. And once you have Bark Power, just check in the website every day to see how much Bark Power you have, so you can spend it and go use it however you want to on X. We're not here to tell you who to use it for, how to use it. That's none of our concern. We want you to use it however you want to, because we love seeing the creativity. I didn't even think. So I was watching the It's Brandon D show or whatever, the other day, yesterday, and he has a live show that pops up tweets as they come in the thread. And I didn't even think about live barks, right, for live stream. And it people are already finding ways to use this game that I didn't even think of, which is the absolute best. So yeah, just get out there, stay positive, get creative. And like I said, if you have any problems or anything with the barking game, just tag us and we'll be glad to help.
Awesome, brother. Well, again, you guys heard it here from Ash. Make sure to shoot him DM, reach out. You guys can see the rotating banner at the bottom. At the barking game is their X. The website is hbark.club. The token name HBark, and then of course the token ID is there. You can see the link to Saucer Swap as well, and then of course we have the website here. All you got to do, again, for those of you guys in my DMs asking me, connect your wallet. Super easy, super simple. I'll just click it here. It is hashtag linked, right? Not like some let's just say some other platforms. we Ash has this stuff down here. No shade. And then of course once you're connected, there will be a link here to connect your X, your Twitter account. Once you verify that, you will be able to, if you buy the tokens, of course, you will be able to see, which you could just click the link up here. It does link you to the Saucer Swap link that I was showing you guys earlier. We did not touch on, if you do want to touch on it, Ash, before we wrap up the show here, if you want to touch on the liquidity pool, providing LP, that kind of stuff as well. I know some people were asking, hey, I know there's a boost over there. What is the reason to provide liquidity, that kind of stuff? Do you want to touch on that as well?
Sure.
You're more than welcome to.
So 2 things. If the price rises in HBark, it becomes even more fun of a game because everyone gets to realize more rewards, right? More in dollar terms or whatever your currency is. And so that's one thing that I saw interesting in DGen, a similar project over on base. But the reason that we give, so LP, I assume that most people here know what LP is. There's risks that come with LP, impermanent loss, right? But if you decide that you are okay with potential impermanent loss and you want to LP, we want to really reward people who decide to LP because they are taking on more risk than just the people who hold HBark in their wallets. And so we've done that in 2 ways. Remember, a healthy project has healthy liquidity, and liquidity pool is our source of liquidity. And so every HBark that you control in the LP gets a 3x boost as opposed to just holding it, right? Now, that HBark that you control will change. You'll have more or you'll have less depending on how much HBark is in the entire LP itself. For example, whenever people are buying HBark, they're depositing HBAR, the native asset on Hedera, they're depositing HBAR into the LP and they're pulling out HBark. So there's going to be less HBark in the LP whenever we go on a bull run. So that means if you own 10% of the LP tokens, you own 10% of the HBark in the LP, then that 10% is just going to consume less HBark itself because there's just less in there to go around, right? So that's been a question that people have asked, like, hey, HBAR is 3x in the past 2 days. Why am I getting less bark power when I'm in the LP? Well, that's exactly why, because there's just less HBark in the LP in general.
Gotcha.
The opposite is true as well. Today we saw, it looks like our first day of selling, right? And so more people are putting HBark into the LP and they're pulling out HBAR. That means that if you're LPing, you're actually going to get more HBark, more bark power from your LP position because there's just more HBark in the LP in general. Now, I know that was a long-winded way to say it, but there is a little bit of nuance to it. But so not only do you get 3x the bark power by being in the LP, you also get to claim daily HBark rewards on our website. So if you'll go back to our website, you'll see that there's a claim window. If you scroll down, right there, claim HBark. For most people, for people who do not LP, this only becomes active, this claim HBark, whenever the season ends and the claim period starts, right? When we're converting all those bark points to HBark tokens. That's when most people will be able to use this claim. If you are LPing, you get the 3x bark power, but you also get to claim every day in the LP, right? 20% of the entire HBark supply has been allocated to LP providers. And so you can come in here every single day and claim HBARC, which then qualifies you for even more bark power by LPing. So you get 2 bonuses for LPing. One is a 3x bark power. 2 is you get to claim legitimately every single day. There's a set number of HBARC tokens that are available just in general for all LP people who LP. You know, if you're the only person in the LP, then you would receive 100% of that. If you and someone else go 50-50 in the LP, then, you know, you would receive 50% of that total claim. All of these numbers and all of this is explained in that big old tweet thread that I posted today around, you know, how the algorithm for bark power, etc. But yeah, we really want people, we want to incentivize people to be in the LP, because if you don't have good liquidity, then your project is not going to be successful.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And in terms of the longevity as well, and I know you mentioned the 15 million tokens bark power for this season, and this is just ideas, right? None of this is concrete to my knowledge. If it is, then again, I'm not really adding value to it, but it could be something where if the community can have a say, or maybe speak into this a bit, maybe every season, especially if the token price, and this is speculation, so again, not financial advice for anyone listening, if we're speculating that the token price hypothetically could go up, right, could go down, could go up, if it is going up in value and people are still getting the rewards, in theory, it could at least add more time. I don't know about the longevity nature of it, right? It could be a conversation for another time on just kind of how the tokens will be allocated per season moving forward. But it could be a scenario where less tokens are allocated per season as the seasons draw on, because the token is worth more. That could be something as well to consider. Again, the community, and of course you'll have to make that decision, but that is something I could totally see, especially if the price is like, I don't know, 0.006, I think it was. Let me share the tab really quick. Hypothetically, again, we're just speculating here, but if the price is 0.006 and it's a 10x from here, okay, well, maybe we'll do 1 million or 1.5 million per season, and that would extend it years, arguably. So very interesting. But it is very, very exciting to see at the end of each season as well, to see the people on the leaderboard, anyone really that's getting any bark and interacting with one another. Myself, if you're barking at me, I'm going to do my best to bark back to make sure that you're getting those rewards as well. And at the end of each season, you'll be able to claim some tokens. And I think that's absolutely incredible. Ash, I'll kick it back to you, brother.
Yeah, no, I think that's it, guys. I'm going to have to wrap up here, but I've had an absolute blast. Yeah.
Awesome, brother. Yeah, I appreciate the time. And yeah, again, if you guys are just tuning in, we did just have an amazing interview with Captain Jack, with Ash here, the founder of the Barking Game. Make sure to listen back. If you're just tuning in, this show has been recorded. This interview is recorded. So again, if you missed any of the alpha, make sure to listen back. But Ash, is there anything else you'd like to leave us, some final words before we wrap up the show here, brother?
Yar!
Awesome. All right, you guys, we'll get barking. Again, if you guys missed anything, just listen back to the show. I feel like we covered most, if not all, of what you need to get started here with HBARC. And of course, Ash's DMs are open. Ash, it's been an absolute pleasure, brother. I appreciate you coming on today. And massive shout out to the amazing HBarbarian community tuning in here today. We got 200 something of you and a bunch of you guys in the spaces. George, Postmaster, everyone else that came up to speak and or leave some comments. We have Rabbit, Dystopian Hippie, Siki, and Crypto Tracker leaving some live comments. Massive shout out to all you guys. Much love, you guys, and I will catch you all this coming Monday for episode 244. Much love, you guys, and I'll catch you all next week. Have a great weekend, y'all. Hey, you guys, if any of you are still listening, I haven't been hosting shows on Fridays for a little while now. I know things are slow. They're not really that busy on Fridays anymore, so I just don't do them. But yeah, I'm more than happy to do interviews. So if any of you guys are ever wanting to hear from your founders, if you like the interview today, um, feel free to share it with your friends. I'm really trying to help push the HBAR ecosystem as much as possible. And it's been 11 months since we've been doing these shows, pretty much Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. EST. You guys know the place to be in Web3. We're coming up on a year, though. It's a really big milestone for our show. I really want to do something special. So hopefully, especially if I win that one wallet with the scavenger hunt, make sure to go check out the scavenger hunt. Maybe you can take that wallet from me if I don't win it. But I want to do something special for the community. I want to be able to give away a bunch of stuff as well for that year anniversary. So it'll probably be around episode, I don't know, 260. It's coming up pretty fast. So stay tuned. Yeah, I think 259, 260 will probably be the 1 year. We'll see, especially if we continue to do the Friday shows again. But yeah, I'm excited for this bull run. I know we haven't talked about your daily HBAR news or your technical analysis, your price action, that kind of stuff. But if you guys saw my feed, especially if you don't have my notifications turned on, feel free to go turn them on if you want to stay up to date with the latest news, the latest alpha. I'm mainly here in HBAR, so don't worry about all the cross-chain stuff too much. But of course, I comment on some of that stuff here and there. But I basically just made a post earlier just talking about how, again, it's not really calling people out or anything. I'm just here saying, hey, like some people are going to get really excited the moment that HBAR pumps a little bit. But don't forget the fundamentals. We've been talking about the fundamentals. Don't get overhyped. Don't get over emotional. I know the moment you see a bunch of green, you're going to freak out. You're probably going to get really excited, start buying a bunch of stuff, whatever. But I haven't seen an actual trend reversal yet on any of the macros, on any of the higher time frames. It's just not showing in the charts for me. Scenario 2 is probably what's going to end up happening. I am looking forward to talking more technical analysis on Monday. I did want to get this little word in before the show does end. For those of you guys listening, I do think it is possible that we have some very red months ahead of us in October, November, December. Contrary to what I was saying before with Q4 potentially being a big pump, it still very well could happen, but it is very possible that the bull run, the alt season side of it doesn't happen till Q1 of next year. So stay level headed, stay completely unemotional from the charts. Don't be looking at the charts 24/7. Don't look at them every hour unless you're a legendary day trader. It is for your own good in terms of my own experiences, because the moment I do that, I'm super stressed. I'm trying to figure out, and then the moment I take a loss, I'm revenge trading and trying to trade, and it never really works. And you're not going to be winning in that way unless you get super lucky. And at that point, you're just gambling. So again, stay level-headed. Try to make only a few trades here and there, and really understand and do your research and have an exit plan. Right? Once this market really takes off, if you don't have an exit plan and say, hey, I'm gonna come to terms with reality. I'm going to accept that, hey, this might be the price where I might be the top and it's a lot lower than I was expecting. That might be when you take profits, when everyone else is saying, hey, we're going to go up 5-10x more, and it's already up 5-10x, right? So stay level headed. I'm going to do my best to show up every single day to make sure you guys have as much alpha as possible, especially if you're here in Hedera, because chances are you love a lot of the same things that I do as well. And I want to see HBAR win from the bottom of my heart. And that starts with each one of you, right? I want to see each one of you win, but a lot of that's going to require as much education as possible, right? As much resources as possible, as much charting, as much opportunities. And it starts with interviews like this, right? It starts with liking and retweeting, maybe barking at one another now, right? Might sound a little weird, but that's something we're going to talk a lot about moving forward, because being able to work together, support one another via social right? Social finance opportunities is something that other chains, namely Solana, Ethereum, and so on, have been able to do for well over a year at this point, and we've never really been able to do that. So again, if you want to take this ecosystem a bit more serious, go dabble in some stuff, go ask some questions, go get involved. And if you guys have questions about that, just shoot me a DM. My DMs are open. I'm happy to help continue to support the ecosystem. And again, we're coming up on 11 months here, doing on Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. EST. place to be in Web3. You guys know how it goes. Well, I hope you guys all have a great rest of your weekend again. And I will see you all this coming Monday for episode 244. All right, you guys, don't forget to like and retweet the show if you found any value out of our show today. And friendly reminder, it is recorded. So if you missed any of our show today, there was a ton of alpha bombs absolutely dropped on our ecosystem. Make sure to go listen back to it. You do not want to miss on the alpha here from the Barking Game. All right, you guys, I'll catch you all when I catch you. Much love, you guys. Peace, y'all.